Hi there, AP Computer Science students. In this screencast, I'm going to do two coding problems similar to what you might see on tomorrow's quiz on one-dimensional arrays. So let's get to it. Alright, so I'm heading over to CodingBat and I'm going to pick some random problem. Let's do front piece. Okay, given an int array of any length, return a new array of its first two entries. If the array is smaller than length 2, use whatever elements are present. Alright, so this one actually is fairly straightforward. I would just say if nums.length, which is how many elements the array has, is less than 2, then just return nums. And then otherwise, return a new array. I'm going to say declare an array, int new array equals, and now I have a choice. I can either declare an array this way, where I would say nums bracket 0, nums bracket 1. Okay, so that actually declares the array. That's this part, and it instantiates an array object and assigns it to the new array. And then I would just say return new array. All right, and let's see. Cannot find symbol. Oh, typo. Okay, great. Of course, the other option would be, instead of nums0, nums1, the other option would be int new array equals new int 2. Okay, that the new int2 makes an array object whose length is 2, assigns it to the int array variable new array, and then of course you would need to make assignments to the 0 and 1 position of that new array that you made. So you would say new array bracket 0 equals nums bracket 0, and then you would say new array bracket 1 equals nums bracket 1. Return new array. Okay, so either of those will work. Alright, that one was pretty basic. Let me see if I can find one that's a little bit more challenging for array 1 than that one. Maybe mid 3. Return a new array of length 3 containing the elements from the middle of the array. Okay, so this one's a little bit better. We know it has an odd length, and we know it has at least 3 elements. So the question is, what elements do we need as compared to the length of the array? So I usually, as I think I've told you in class, I usually actually will even draw a little array so that I can look at its length and make sure that I get the indices right. So if I have an array whose length is 3, it would have positions 0, 1, and 2. And if I divide the length, which is an int value, divided by 2, so 3 divided by 2 is going to give me 1. So that means the middle position of any array, or at least the one that has 3, is going to have the position length divided by 2. So let me just try for an array that has 5 positions to see if I get the same result. So I have 5 elements in my array. I divide it by 2, do int division with 2, and I get 2. And sure enough, that is the middle position of my array. So that means I can do this I'm going to say, let's see, int, I'm going to make a new array equals, okay, so the first position is going to be return a new array length 3 containing the elements from the middle of the array. So I assume they mean let's see, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So the first position is going to be nums dot length divided by 2. That's the middle one, minus 1. All right. So that would mean the next element needs to be nums, the array, and in the position of nums.length divided by 2. Because that's what we decided was the index of the middle element of the array. And then my final position is going to be nums dot length divided by 2 plus 1. All right, and then I need to return that. So let's see, return new array. Yay, got it. Okay, so that one's a little bit better, a little bit more, slightly more challenging. Now let's do one of the ones from array 2. Okay, so these ones are a little bit harder. So let's look, and I'm sorry for the noise in the background. There's an instructional center going on right now, so that's why you hear Miss Yeager talking in the background. All right, so let me try, how about triple up? Return true if the array contains somewhere 3 increasing adjacent numbers. Okay, so basically we're gonna. I think our strategy is to find the first occurrence, and then as soon as if we find an occurrence, we can immediately return true, because it doesn't really matter where in the array it is. It doesn't say the first one will be fine. The last one would be fine too. But since we're not counting them, we're just returning true if there's at least one of the situation like that, then we can immediately return true. Okay, so here's the tricky thing. When you're looking for a sequence, searching for a specific sequence, you need to make sure that you don't go out of bounds when you're searching through your array. So as I think I told you in class, what you might want to do is always start, instead of starting with the 0 element and looking at 0, 1, and 2, and then 1, 2, and 3, and then 2, 3, and 4, you might start with the 2 element, the element in position 2, and then kind of look backwards. So 2, 1, 0, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, and that way the upper bound on your loop is still going to be the traditional I less than the length of the array. All right, so now let's see. So as soon we want to immediately return true as soon as we find one, if we do find one. So you know what? Let me do a while loop. I could do a for loop, but when I do return, it's of course going to break the loop. So I haven't done a while loop in a while, so let's give it a shot. Okay, so to do a while loop, I'm going to say boolean found equals false. I like to do my while loops with, these are called sentry variables that are boolean variables. All right, and let me see. I'm going to start at which you set the boolean variable to false, and then when you call it found, and then your condition is while not found. Okay, so I need to start. I'm going to have one variable that's going to govern what position I'm looking backwards from. So I'm going to say int position equals 2. Oh, and I might want to add that I need to check to see if the array is less than 3. Because if it has less than 3 elements, then you have to immediately return false, and your algorithm isn't going to work. It's probably going to go out of bounds. So I'm going to say if nums.length is less than 3, return false. All right. So if I get past that statement, it means the array does have at least 3 elements, so I can continue on with my loop. So I'm going to say while not found, all right, then I'm going to say, okay, if, let's see, nums bracket position, so consecutive, ones in consecutive order would be the the one, since I'm looking backwards, the first element that I'd be looking at would be two positions before. Okay, so that one has to be less than nums, let's see, 4, 5, 2, 3 increasing adjacent numbers. Let's see. Oh, they have to be consecutive, it looks like. Okay, so if I say nums minus 2 is equal to nums position minus 1, okay, then minus 1, okay, so the one after it, if you subtract 1 from it, you get the one before it. Okay, and then I would say, and let's see, nums position, okay, is equal to let's see, nums position minus 1. Let me do that one. The middle one is equal to the next one, 1. Okay. Alternatively, maybe it would make a little more sense to say add 1 to the first one value and you get the second value, and then you add 1 to the second value and you get the third one value. Either one of the ways of doing it would work. Doesn't matter, since it's a simple equation. If the one's adding 1 on the left side, the same thing as subtracting 1 on the right side. Okay. Now I also need to say, let's see, and, okay, you know what? Let me say position is less than nums dot length. Okay, and the other things are true. So we need to, since we're doing a while loop, we need to make sure that we don't go past the end of the array. Let's see. You know what? Let me handle that later. Okay. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this. Return true. Okay. If let's see, so if the position gets to the point where, let's see, it's equal to the length of the array, that means we've gone through all possible combinations, then I can just return false. So I'm going to say if position is equal to you know what? I need to, first of all, I need to say position plus plus, and then I would say if position is equal to the length of the array, okay, then I would return false because I would have made it all the way through. So really, I guess I don't really need this found equals false. I can just have a loop that just continues. I can just say while true, because the moment that I either make it to the end of the array or I find that condition, I'm immediately going to return some value and the loop is going to end because the method ends. So let's see. Okay, missing or illegal start of expression. That's that. Position plus plus. Oh, okay, so I don't need those. And then that means, let me fix my indentation. I think I'm missing a curly brace at the end. Uh, Alright, so I'm going to do a closed curly brace. Hopefully that'll do it. Cannot find symbol position. Okay, I misspelled position. Where is it? Oh, there. You were probably screaming that out as I was doing it, but unfortunately, I can't hear you because this is a recording. Okay, so that's one way to do this problem. Maybe that's the more complicated way. You might just have used a for loop. So let me do it with a for loop instead. And if you really don't want to see it as a for loop, you can just tune out because this is the last problem I'm doing. So, and adios to you then. Okay, so if I say, I'm going to say for int I equals 2, I less than nums dot length, I plus plus. Yeah, this is probably an easier way to do it. And I'm going to say if nums bracket I minus 2 plus 1 equals nums I plus 1. In other words, the 1, 2 beneath it is equal to, if you add 1 to it, you get the 1 right beneath it, the middle one value. And then I'm going to say, and nums I minus 1 is equal to, or no, plus 1 is equal to nums bracket I, then return true. Alright, so, and then if I make it all the way through the loop without returning true, I just return false. And let's see, I think I have an extra closed curly brace. Oh, no, semicolon. Out of bounds. Let's see. Um, hmm. Oh, this should be a minus sign, not a plus sign. Okay. Excuse me. There we go. All right. So that's triple up, and the quiz will probably be something very similar because I want us to have time to do other things other than take this quiz and work on the war game. All right. Hope that was helpful, and we will see you tomorrow. Cheers.